So this is episode 8 of Beyond the Barbell. This time I'm at Gym Nation with Jess Towl, who is the head of High Rocks Middle East. Thank you so much for joining me.
Okay.
And I'm lucky to catch you before you jet off to Barcelona for your next race. Are you ready for that?
Yes, hope so, yeah. A couple more days to go and it'll be a doubles. So doubles is always a bit more intense, a bit more exciting, less pressure, more fun.
And who's your partner for this one?
My partner is Kate Davey. She's a British-English athlete based in the UK.
And you had to switch from Roisin because they've changed the rules slightly, haven't they? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Roisin and I have been partners for the last couple of races. We did 2 Elite 15 races together, which was amazing. But the new rules of High Rocks are that you must compete at an elite level with someone from the same country as you, same passport.
And why have they done that?
The goal of High Rocks is to make it an Olympic sport. So in the small steps along the way to becoming the Olympic sport, and that was one of them, was to have teams from the same countries racing together.
Can you see it becoming an Olympic sport quite soon? It's such a growing sport globally and everybody loves it and the world is such a big deal. So can you see them incorporating it?
Yeah, but I also think there's a long way to go because as athletes, we know that the standardization of courses is so difficult. Like the temperature, some courses, why are they faster than others? Why do some sleds move faster than others depending on the race or the weather? And I think it's very difficult to standardize a race, and that's what they need to make it an Olympic sport. It needs to be the same race for every person that's racing and not have these differences.
Yeah, because in episode 3 when I spoke to Rolf Jager, who you know, he said that some races are longer than others, and I said, how is that possible? Because it's the same course, and he said, well, in different countries it's not technically the same.
Yes, and for example, like I did a race in London at the beginning of the year that was 1 lap run, and then you have other races that are 3 and 4 laps. Obviously, it's much slower to do that many turns on a course than it is just to run 1 kilometre. And speaking of Rolf, actually, he has a video of me that he hasn't shown me yet. I basically took about 5 or 6 minutes to do the sled push at World Championships last year because my sled just didn't move. And there was people around me like running with their sled, and mine was just like stuck to the floor. So there's differences like that from race to race.
There was a lot of issues at that World Championships with the sleds. Like on social media, it was just going crazy.
Yeah, it was. And the difference from like one lane to the next was crazy. Like,
did they ever come to a conclusion as to why that was?
So a lot of people think it's the turf, but it's actually the bottom of the center fit sled. Like if you turn the sleds on their side, you can see some are much more worn than others. And the ones that are worn basically catch on the carpet. There's not that nice smooth. So it comes down to how much has that sled been used. So the newer sleds will move really fast. It's the sleds, definitely not the turf.
And a bit about you. You've been in the Elite 15 for 24, 25 and 26 now?
Yes.
And did you ever see yourself being in an Elite 15, starting High Rocks?
No, so I, like most people, probably fell into High Rocks by mistake. Like, he just came to Dubai and I was like, that sounds pretty cool. I was doing CrossFit at the time, but I knew that I liked running. So I was like, oh, this is cool. And I think from the first or second race that I did, the time that I did put me in the fastest 15 in the world. So it was like straight away from the start. And I was like, wow, I found myself being invited around the world for these races. And so it kind of started from there.
Tell me a little bit about you getting diagnosed with autoimmune disease and how has that affected you in your life and in your training and racing?
So 8 months ago, I was diagnosed with axial spondyloarthritis, which is a form of rheumatoid arthritis, like an autoimmune disease. And it affects my SI joints in my spine. So for many years, I've been living in pain, but shortly before I was diagnosed, the pain was, I couldn't live with the pain. No one knew. Like, I kept it a secret. Like, I was still racing, I was still training, I was still doing Elite 15 races. I was living on anti-inflammatories. So it was something that I wouldn't say I kept it secret on purpose, but it was like most women were just like, oh yeah, I have a pain, it's fine. And and just like charged on and carried on. And then 8 months ago, I got the diagnosis. I started taking medication, like I have to inject myself every other week. And my life has completely changed since then. I feel like a new person. I feel like training's better, racing's better. One of the symptoms is chronic fatigue, which for the last 4 or 5 years, I believed my chronic fatigue was because I was an athlete and I was training and racing and I was doing too much. But now I realize it was actually a symptom of my disease. So I don't have any fatigue anymore, which is amazing.
Is this something that you're going to have to keep on top of for the rest of your life?
Yeah, you can go into clinical remission, but I came off the medication a few months ago as a test, and the arthritis came back. So at the moment, I'm taking the medication and I'll be on it for a while.
Is it always kind of in the back of your head when you're racing that the pain might come back or anything like that? Is it always like a thought that you have?
Yeah, like on a daily basis, because autoimmune disease is triggered by stress, and obviously training is stress. Like work is stress, life is stress. Training, like the amount I train and racing especially, is a lot of stress. So it's really hard to manage autoimmune symptoms and the stress because they're stresses. So it's like I'm trying this new life now of trying to find a balance between like training hard but not overdoing it so that I trigger the bad symptoms.
Yeah.
So it's difficult.
Was it brought on by stress factors in your life, or is it a family trait?
So it's a gene that's passed on from my mother and from my grandfather, but it can lay dormant in your body for your entire life and nothing comes of it, but stress triggers it. So something 4 or 5 years ago triggered it to start developing in me. And for 4 or 5 years, I lived without knowing that I had it. And then when the symptoms got so severe that I couldn't even get out of bed in the morning, that's when I got the diagnosis.
I feel like that happens to women all the time. And it gets to that point where you literally cannot move.
I know. And I remember I said to the doctor, oh, it's not that bad. And he said, Jess, I just watched you. You could barely walk from the chair in the waiting room to my office. Like, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes in people's lives, not just mine, obviously, that there's people. What you see is not always what you get.
Yeah. Would you say that Hyrox is your main passion now? Obviously, you're living your best athlete life at the moment. Every competition I see you in, I'm like, oh, Jess Towl is going to win. You were at Threshold, you were at Haban, which is a new race as well. You're just kind of dominating everything regionally. Let someone else have a go.
I know, that's what everyone says. I actually tried to enter more than one race at Threshold, and they were like, no, you're not allowed. I just love competing, and it doesn't matter what it is. Like, I did my first competition, which was swimming, when I was like 5 or 6, and that's all I'd ever known. Like, from swimming to cross country to triathlon to CrossFit, I love the process of training, but why I do it is because I like competing, the high from competing. Like, anything, throw at me, I'll do it.
Really?
Yeah.
You, like, any competition, you're willing to do it?
Yeah, I'll do swimming, cycling, running, CrossFit, Hyrox, anything.
Did you do the CrossFit Open this year?
So I've been taking a little bit of a back step from CrossFit. The reason that I stopped actually training for CrossFit and transitioned into Hyrox was not so much because I suddenly loved Hyrox. It's because in the CrossFit Open, I had a really bad shoulder dislocation and basically was told that I would never be able to do snatches or muscle ups again without having surgery. So then at that time, Hyrox came along and I was like, oh, okay, I don't need to have the surgery. I can transition more into Hyrox than CrossFit.
How's your shoulder doing now?
My shoulder is dislocated 3 times now since that Hyrox Open. But I just manage it now. Like, I don't plan on having the surgery. I just don't plan on doing muscle ups anymore or snatches, basically. Yeah. Yeah.
And everyone is waiting to see if we're going to have a Hyrox race here in the UAE soon.
I think there's a very slim chance that that's going to happen. The plan was for it to be about 8 weeks from now. I think that's too late now on the calendar. With everything that's going on. I have heard that it's going to be pushed to the end of the year. So towards the end of the year, we will have, hopefully, Abu Dhabi and Dubai.
Okay.
Hyrox. Yeah.
That would be amazing.
So, and because that's happened, obviously it's given gyms a big opportunity to put on other events to try and fill that gap.
Yeah.
Like Gym Nation, we've put on a huge event in June, kind of just to give our members and give the community something else to work towards. Because everyone's dying to do a Hyrox.
What brought you to the UAE? Was it kind of down the athlete path?
So it was about 16 years ago now. So I've been here a while. My mum was working over here. She basically was opening nurseries like British curriculum nurseries. And I graduated from university and had no idea what to do. What I graduated in required like internship work, and I wasn't getting any in London. So mum said to me, just come over to the UAE and stay here for the summer, figure out what you want to do. And it ended up being 16 years and I'm still here.
You must love it then.
I absolutely love the UAE. Like, it's my home.
And have you seen the High Rocks community growing each and every year here in the UAE?
Since the first High Rocks that we had here, it's just, I remember then no one knew what High Rocks was. It was like this new scary thing that came in, and I think back then CrossFit was like the primary sport in this country, like the competitive sport. And over the last like 2 or 3 years, it's just every single person knows what High Rocks is. Like every gym offers some kind of High Rocks program. I think it's in line with the rest of the world. And what's even more exciting for me is now because like Gym Nation, we have branches in Saudi Arabia. So seeing a country like Saudi expand with it as well, not just the UAE, but like the rest of the Middle East, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Like countries that you would never think would have that reach before, it's spreading everywhere.
Well, it's really exploded. I mean, when I was trying to buy High Rocks Abu Dhabi tickets, I was like, oh my God, I have to get them before they sell out.
Yeah, like now for any race now, you have to be online waiting for the countdown for when the ticket sales open, because within minutes they're gone.
Do you think that that's going to lead to more races in the calendar throughout the year globally then?
Yeah, like I hope that it happens here in the Middle East. There's a lot of places we can have them here, because at the moment in Europe, every single weekend you have a race and it's easy in Europe to jump from one country to another, and a lot of the time you have the option of 3 or 4 races on one weekend in Europe, and I would love to get to the point where we have that over here a lot more, because people are training and they're wanting it. It's just not readily available yet.
Yeah, but I mean, it's definitely going to happen.
It's happening.
It's happening.
Yeah.
As we speak.
Yeah.
How would you go about preparing for a High Rocks race? So, like, do you kind of look at it very far in advance, or do you look at it like close up, like 2 weeks out, you start building up, or like what's the process? What's your process?
Like for me, I look at it a long, long way out. Like I would say probably 6 months out.
Okay.
Yeah. And for me, my training 6 months out, I'd be, obviously 6 months out, I'd be doing a lot more like power and strength and things like that. And then closer and a lot more endurance runs and easy runs and like a lot of like base building work, a lot of cycling. And then for maybe 3 months. And then within a 3-month window of the race, I would start to be doing a lot more like threshold work, a lot more higher intensity workouts. And then even closer to the race, I would then start to do like compromise runs and station work. I think as a High Rocks coach, like what I've seen from a lot of people is they do too much High Rocks all the time.
Yeah.
And you don't need to be doing High Rocks training sessions like simulations and compromise runs all the time. It needs to be a lot more, a lot closer to the race.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot more work that needs to be done in other areas in the long term.
Yeah, because people would just like almost focus just on running or just on one particular thing, but it's kind of, you need fitness in every aspect.
Yeah, and a lot of people underestimate how important the run is. So like 6 months out from a race, you should be running, you should be already trying to increase your run volume, increase your base. I think a big mistake people make is they run too much too fast. Too high intensity, I mean. Like they do too many threshold sessions a week for too many months when they should be doing a lot more zone 2.
You got to get those zone 2
yeah,
when I was just about to say.
We always hear it, but people don't actually do it. And like a lot of the athletes that I coach, I'm like, is it actually zone 2? And they're like, yeah, but I felt really good and my heart rate was up like 150. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not zone 2. There's this gray area in the middle of like threshold and zone 2 or easy. And there's this gray area that people push into way too often. But then if you push into that, you're fatiguing yourself. So your actual thresholds later in the week are going to be compromised. And it's just, It's just not the way to do it. But I can see why people do it.
People find it boring, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is boring doing Zone 2. You'll laugh. I actually, if I'm running indoors, I just watch YouTube and films and things like that just to try and pass the time.
That's probably a good idea because running on a treadmill is very boring.
And obviously in this country, it's very difficult in the summer to do true Zone 2 runs outside because you can literally be walking and your heart rate will be too high because of the heat. So,
what would you consider Zone 2 in heart rate wise?
Obviously for every person it's very different, but for me, if I keep my heart rate below, when I'm running, below 140, that would be my Zone 2.
Yeah, and what would you recommend to people that are not that good at running, but they want to start getting into Zone 2 running and like increasing that volume?
So some of the athletes that I've coached in the past, they've said to me, Jess, I can't run, I'm literally walking and my heart rate's too high. But that's how you have to start. And that's the biggest mistake that people make. They say, I can't run Zone 2 because my heart rate doesn't go that low. But it will if you walk. And if that means that you start with a walk and then you go to a power walk and then you go to 30 seconds run, 30 seconds walk. Even if you've finished like 5 high roxes before in your life, it's okay to go back to those basics and walk if that's what Zone 2 is, because otherwise you're never going to get your body conditioned to a place where it can be in Zone 2. And it's quite common. I have athletes be like, I can't physically run any slower. Well, you can walk, you know.
And a lot of people are ashamed to walk almost because they would see it as like a weakness, but it's really not.
Yeah, it's definitely not a weakness. I've been there before because it's ego, right? You're like looking at your watch and you're thinking, I'm running at 7-minute pace, like that's ridiculous. But you can't get to, everyone wants to run their Zone 2 at 5-minute pace, let's say, but you're not going to get there unless you start at the 7-minute. And I tend to, when I do my Zone 2 runs, I tend to really not care about the pace. I try and like not even look at the pace and I just look at my heart rate. Because sometimes you look at your pace and like you say, it can be like 7-minute pace and other times it can be 4-minute and it doesn't make, because your body feels different on different days.
Yeah.
But it's definitely an ego thing.
Have you ever woken up on a High Rocks race day and felt like you're not ready or felt like you're not strong on that day, like this day is not your day? And how's that race gone for you?
Yeah, definitely. I've woken up on days on race day and been like, nah, I'm terrible. My HRV, for example, is rock bottom. I didn't sleep all night. Like I've got a bad tummy. Like there's always been these things. But then you can have the best race of your life.
Yeah.
And then I've woken up on days where I felt amazing and I'm like, oh, today is gonna be the day, and I've had the worst race ever. So like, I've competed so many times in my life, there's never a pattern. There's never a pattern to how I'm feeling when I wake up as to how the race goes. So I've just learned nowadays just to go with the flow and be more positive. Like, it doesn't matter how I feel or what's going on, anything can happen on the race day.
Yeah. Did you feel like you had a good fitness base, like as you said, you were competing since you were a child? So would you say that you were like gifted with your athletic abilities, or have you really had to work in some aspects?
I don't ever believe that anybody is gifted.
Yeah.
I think that people like to call other people gifted because they don't really know the hard work that's gone in behind the scenes. And it's easy to say to someone, oh, it's easy for you, you're gifted.
Yeah.
But I was born 3 months premature, with a hole in my heart, and I was in a special baby care unit for months. And I even had a priest came to christen me because I didn't think I was going to make it. And look where I am now, you know. So like, I didn't have the best start, but I was competitive swimming from the age of 5. But I had to beg to be in the swimming club because they didn't accept you before you were 7. And then, honestly, since that age, sport has been my entire life. So I have, when people say, how long have you been training for? I've been training for more than 30 years, you know, like consistently. There's never really been a gap. I might have jumped from one sport to the other, but I've always been training. So, and I've always trained really hard and really enjoyed it. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's gifted or talented. It's something that I have always done. And I think it's very different for someone like me that's all I've ever done to someone that started maybe in their 20s or 30s, decided I want to get fit, I want to get healthy, I want to do this sport. Well, I've got a 20-year advantage on you. Yeah. So I think in that sense, I can pick things up easier. So I kind of have jumped from a very high level triathlon to a very high level CrossFit into a very high level high rocks. I kind of jump between because that base is already there, that lifestyle is already there.
Do you keep competing when you're not like high rocksing? Do you compete in other competitions to keep yourself fit and sharp for high rocks? Is that the idea?
Yeah, last year I took a 6-month break from racing high rocks because high rocks is the exact same thing every time, and people race too often and wonder why they're not getting better, but there's no time in between these races to get better, right? You're just doing the same thing. So I took a 6-month block off racing high rocks, but I raced everything else I could think of. As I didn't taper for them, it was part of my training.
Yeah.
So I think there was a block before Christmas where I raced 14 races in 14 weeks.
Wow.
And it was mountain bike racing, triathlons, road cycling, running races, rowing competitions, functional fitness, that kind of thing. And when I went back to doing high rocks again after that period of time, I got a 2-minute PB, whereas beforehand I'd been stagnant for a long time, not getting any PBs. I'm not saying it's healthy to do what I did and race that often, but I was doing it as a hard training day, trying to get away from high rocks to add some more variety, add some more fun into the, yeah.
Yeah, because the high rocks is very repetitive.
Yeah, very repetitive. And if you do it too much, you're going to get bored. It's like anything, right? It's the same thing, same repetition. And I think it's smart to mix up your training and your racing with things that complement high rocks. So I was really clever I chose like sprint distance triathlons because that's an hour long. And I knew that high rocks is an hour long. And you know, there was a couple of trail races that I did that were around an hour, the 15-minute mark. So it was things to complement my high rocks without just being doing high rocks over and over again.
So what is your personal best time in a high rocks race?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I think it's a 101.09. So my goal is to go.
And that's in the elite division?
That was in Katowice in like a pro race.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you race elite, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Because there's only 15 of you. The course is different. I've never PB'd in an elite race. There's a lot more pressure on you, I think. And yeah. My goal is to go sub 1 hour, a 59.
That's the goal?
Yeah, that's the goal. To go sub an hour in a solo, I think that's a pretty solid goal. So in the doubles, I would say is harder in the sense of it's way more intense. So I'm like, my heart rate will be like redlining the entire time, and I need those 5 or 10 second breaks that my partner give me just to lower my heart rate a little bit. And then you can run maybe like 20 to 30 seconds faster per kilometer than you can in a singles because you get that little bit of rest. Whereas a solo race, it's easier in the sense of it's like less intense, and you've just got to maintain that intensity the whole time and keep going. Yeah.
Do you ever peak in a race and then have a crash, or do you just try to literally maintain your speed the whole time during a high rocks race, or do you kind of gradually get faster?
I try and maintain from start to finish the same pace. I think, and it's not, I never look at my watch. I've never looked at my watch in a high rocks race because one, the GPS doesn't work indoors, but two, you can start stressing yourself out with, I'm ahead of my PB, I'm behind my PB, and I just think, because I've raced so much in my life, just go by feel.
Yeah. If
you go by feel on the day, then you've done the best that you can.
Do you ever have a cheeky look at the little board that you have to run past with the scores?
I've had a cheeky look at my watch before running into the wall balls.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is the last station, how am I doing? But I've learned not to do that now, because that time, I think I was like 10 or 15 seconds behind my personal best, and then I broke the wall balls. But I broke the wall balls because I knew I wasn't going to get a PB.
Yeah.
You know, so like little things like that, I'm like, no, like psychologically it's better to give everything you have, but not know until you cross the line.
How do you push yourself to keep going? Because high rocks is not easy in any sense of the word, or doing triathlons or anything. Do you ever get to a point where you're like, oh, I can't do this and need to push through? Or do you just like put your head down, keep working?
Like in a race?
Yeah.
Oh, there's loads of moments of doubt, definitely. Like, there's been a couple of times in the high rocks where I've actually been on the ski and I've been like, why am I doing this? And it's like the beginning of the race.
That's the first station.
I think because when you get to the ski is when it really starts, like you've just done that first run and it starts to kick in, you're like, I have got a long way to go. But they've never been, I don't let it win. Like I might have that moment thought of, oh my God, why am I doing this? But I'm not gonna stop.
Yeah.
The same on the burpees. I've had a few wobbles on the burpees where your mind goes.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty good at turning it back around.
Yeah. Is that your least favorite station? Is the burpee broad jumps?
The burpee broad jumps, the worst station.
That's been like for everybody's worst station.
And actually, in the Elite 15 doubles race that Roisin and I did a few weeks ago in Warsaw, we went into the burpees in 4th place. So like 4th place in the entire world, we're going into the burpees, and we thought we were going quite fast, and everyone just started overtaking us. And we were like, what's going on? And we came out of the burpees in 11th. Yeah, and both of us hate burpees, and so we figured we need to work on our burpees.
And the best way is to keep doing them, do more.
And I don't think it helps being tall, because it's like a long way down and a long way up. Like
you have an advantage of in the wall balls, not so much the burpees.
So yeah, don't like the burpees.
So how many high rocks races have you done in total? If you have a count.
I think maybe 11. So not that many really, but I don't think you should be doing that many.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the new system next season requires you to race 5 times. 5 times, 5 times to qualify for the Elite 15, and then there will be 4 Elite 15 races, 1 regional, and 1 World Champs. So that's like 11 races minimum a year.
Wow, that's tough.
And that's only if you're doing singles. If you're doing doubles, you've got to do double. Yeah, so essentially, Hyrox is saying that you need to be racing twice a month, which obviously is very unhealthy and very stupid, and it's not something that I would recommend.
Yeah, that's really tough.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's not even that, it's also the cost of if you need to travel somewhere else to actually race and to try and get up points to qualify.
Yeah, especially for us in this region, we don't have any races, so it would mean traveling every month, twice a month, to be able to afford to take time off work, to travel to the race, to pay for the flight, the hotel, and then you need to not have a job and be very rich.
That's every athlete's dream.
That will be the Elite 15 next year. It will just be people that don't have a job.
Would you say that Hyrox is such a growing sport because it is so accessible to everyone? Everyone can sign up and do a Hyrox, whereas like not everybody can sign up and do a CrossFit competition.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's exploded so much around the entire world. I mean, anyone can do Hyrox. It doesn't matter if it takes you 4 hours to finish a Hyrox or an hour. Like, it's not about that. It's about you can finish it. And like, it's the same as a marathon or like running events. You can walk them, you can finish them. And I think I'm really excited because my mum, she is 67 and she has really bad rheumatoid arthritis. And she watched me do a Hyrox for the first time in December. And she decided that next December, which is the one coming, that me and her would do a doubles together in London. And so she's been training since December. And this is someone that could not, for example, can't do a burpee. She can't squat below parallel. She can't get her knee to the ground on the floor for a lunge. And so we have a year, or we did have a year. We've got like 6 months now. So we're going to do our first ever like Hyrox doubles, me and her together.
Oh,
so
that would be amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be the best race of my life.
I've seen, there's so many videos that you come across on social media, like amazing stories from Hyrox like that, people doing it with their parents, like people of determination doing Hyrox as well. Like that's why it's such a great vibe and community.
Yeah, it's
less risk of injury doing Hyrox as well. Like you said, with your shoulder injury was from CrossFit.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest risk probably in Hyrox is running. Yeah. People run wrong, the mechanics are wrong. It obviously causes like shin splints and knees and ankles, but that's more a volume issue than accidents.
Well, thank you so much for being a guest on my podcast. I like to end every episode with asking my athletes what is the best advice they have ever been given.
No one's given me this advice, but it's something that I've kind of lived by in more recent times, is that like people take sport too seriously, and it is serious. It is, I get it's part of your life, but there's so much more to life than your performance in a race, and no one remembers, no one cares, including yourself. So whether you do a race and win, you do a race and get a world record, you do a race and come last, like a few hours after that race, no one knows, no one remembers, no one cares, because everyone has their own life, their own bubble, and they're moving on to the next thing, right? But the emphasis that we put on ourselves for events and races it's just made up in our heads. Does that make sense? Like, it's hard to explain.
Yeah. People get so wrapped up in that kind of
But there's so
mindset.
much more to life. And I've had the worst race of my life before, but like an hour after, nobody knows, nobody remembers, nobody cares. And I've also had a world record before in CrossFit, but I woke up the next morning and realized no one cared, like including myself. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's more the process that we should enjoy, and life, and not get so wrapped up in what other people think or in results, because our life's too short.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that advice so much. Thank you so much,
No worries.
Jess. That was episode 8 of Beyond the Barbell.